Hey students of class 9th, as we have learned in our previous video about the matter, whether matter are pure substances or mixture, and how can we differentiate into different categories. In this video, we are going to learn about the types of mixtures on the basis of particle size. Even we can say that this solution is a type of homogeneous mixture and suspension and colloids are heterogeneous mixtures. Means we can categorize according to the homogeneous and heterogeneous or on the basis of particle of size. So let's learn about these. What are these? Solutions. Solutions are the mixture of two or more substances with one phase only. Means they could be in a liquid phase or they could be in a gaseous phase. Means when two or more substances mix together and become in one phase, whether it is liquid or a solid or a gaseous, then the mixture is known to be as the solutions. And in this, as I have already told you, that the homogeneous mixtures, one of the examples, or we can say one of the type, is solution. So the particles should be mixed evenly throughout their mixture. So you are not able to distinguish between them what particles is there present in them, as the size of the particles is very small. So let's have a learn about the properties of the solution now. The solution is a homogeneous mixture. So the particles would not be able to seen with your eyes, naked eyes. You need a special instrument for that, and that instrument could be the microscope. Why we are not able to see them directly? Because the particle size is very less in number, right? You can call them, they are less than 1 nanometer in diameter, which is approximately equals to the 10 raised to the power minus 9 meter. As the particle size is very small, so it also not be able to filter them with the help of a filter paper, and so we cannot separate them by the process of filtration. The solution is very stable here. Stable means when we left them undisturbed for some time, then they will not separate out on keeping. Means we are not able to get all the or some of the constituents, some of the mixture constituents at the bottom of the container. They are mixed evenly throughout the mixture and they will not settle down. That's why we are not able to separate them with the help of filtration process. And a true solution does not scatter light because the particles are very small. So the beam of light, when they fall on it, they are not able to scatter properly in the medium. So these are the properties of the solutions, and these are the homogeneous mixtures. But the properties also includes one more point, that it is a mixture of two things generally. So these two things are the solute or the solvent. When solute mixed with the solvent, then the solutions are formed. But what solvent and what solute are? Solvent are the component of a mixture, right? Especially the solution in which the other particle is getting mixed. It is generally, the solvent quantity is generally more in the solution. The more quantity particle present in the solution is considered to be the solvent, and the solvent are those things in which the other material or other component is getting dissolved. Solute are the component which is getting dissolved in the solvent. Generally the solute present in less quantity in a solution. So when the solvent mixed with solute, they form solutions. There are different types of solutions, right? The first one's true solution, saturated, unsaturated solution. True solution is those solution in which the solute particles get dissolved into a broken down into a fine state that you are not able to get them. But what are the different these saturated, unsaturated, or we can say that super saturated solutions, right? These are also kind of solutions. But what are these? Let's learn about these also. Unsaturated solution are those solutions in which you can dissolve the more and more solute. Means it does not reach the level where you cannot able to dissolve the more solute in it. Saturated solution in the solution in which no more solute can get dissolved in it. For example, if you take a glass of water and you add 1 spoon of sugar particles in it, it get dissolved. But you add one more sugar spoon full of sugar, if you add in it, so what will happen, it will again get dissolved. So the solution at that time could be the unsaturated solution. But at one there will be a one point where you'll keep adding the spoon full of sugar, but at the end you will find some of the sugar is left behind at the container bottom, but it is not able to dissolve properly. At that point they have reached a situation where no more solute can dissolve in them, and these are considered to be a saturated solution. Super saturated solutions are those which becomes unstable and they form the crystal in it. For example, if you might have observed that if sugar syrup has been made at home for different sweets, but when the sugar mixed in large amount at the high temperature and you will left it for some time to become cold, that sugar syrup prepared at home, you will see the sugar layers is freeze over the syrup layer, right? So that is a crystals forms. You could get the crystals from the super saturated solutions. These are the different kind of solutions we know about so far. So next, I have told you that there is some amount of solute that can be dissolved in a particular solvent, right? So these amount of solute, or we can say the maximum amount of solute that could be present, that could able to dissolve in the solvent or in a saturated solution, that is known as its solubility. If we talk about in numbers, so that this is the amount of solute that is present in 100 ml of the saturated solution or the 100 ml of the solvent, but at a particular temperature. Why at a particular temperature? Because we have observed that when we increase the temperature, what will happen, the solubility of a particular substance could increase. So that's why this is the important term that we need to consider. This is the maximum amount of solute that is dissolving in 100 ml of solution or the solvent to form a saturated solution at a particular temperature. Then only we can say that that is its solubility. And the factors that is affecting the solubility, I have told you about the temperature. As you must have observed, when you make a shikanji at your home or lemonade at your home, so your mother advised to take a normal water instead of the cold water. Why? Because the normal water temperature is low and the sugar can dissolve easily in it. So the temperature is the main factor which is responsible for affecting the solubility of any solvent or the solute. So in solid and liquid, solubility increases with temperature, but in gases the solubility decreases with temperature. Why? Because as the solubility increases, their kinetic energy also increased, and because of the increment in the kinetic energy, the gas can escape out of the container or to the atmosphere. That will be of no use then. So the temperature, solubility increases with temperature in solids and liquid, but in gases it decreases. The pressure factor, as the solids and liquids are already in a very composed state, the particles are very close in nature, so they are having very little effect of pressure in solubility. But in gases, solubility increases with pressure, because during when we apply the pressure, the gas can become a solvent, or we can say that it can become a liquid or the solid particles that will increase the solubility of that particular substance. For example, if you might have observed the cold drink, when you open it, you will find a sound of frizz when you open the bottle. That is actually the cold drink is having the carbon dioxide present in it, and it gets mixed in it by applying the pressure, so that the cold drink could not get spoiled easily. And the third factor, that is the nature of the solute and solvent, means the like dissolves the like. So far we have discussed about it. We'll learn more about the matter and the solutions. Till then, thank you and keep learning.